Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adopters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed a thing. Could I please get a audio check in the chat, please? Hopefully there's somebody there. It's telling me there's 4 people in, which is good. So I'm not totally on my own. But if I could be sure that there's actually noise coming out, that would be good. Ha! It's working. Paga, what about you, chum? Of all the sunglasses, evening, glad to have you aboard. There's Rags is in. What about you, brother? More stuff about our wee contract. Sam G's in. Paga's telling me audio's good. Avola again, and Eyes Wide Shut is telling me that the sound is good. So we're happy with all of that. And there's now 13 people in. It's fucking it's excellent. It's like a normal night. Now, Angle Brother, what about you, chump? Right. First off, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. As hopefully most of you know, I was out and did a bit of a live stream from a parade during the week. Really enjoyed doing that. I can say that I've watched it back and my recording of it wasn't brilliant, but that will get better. Should I do it again? I suppose that is a question. Should I do that again? The bonfires are coming up very shortly on the 11th night. I'm considering live streaming one of those for a while. Bonfires themselves tend to be there for approximately half an hour after it's lit. Definitely. The live stream was good. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Well shot. Oh, fuck. The sound is... That's StreamYard. Little Wings, thank you very much. Thank you. Right. Good. We're definitely doing more of that then. Right. The sound. StreamYard fucking compresses sound going through it, and that's why the music isn't as good as it should be, but it's what we've got. So it's what we'll have to use. But I will definitely do a bit of a stream from a bonfire. It'll be a local one. I haven't totally decided which one I'm going to go to, but whichever one it is, I go to on the 11th night. I'll stream from about 10 to 12 to probably past to see basically how long the fire lasts, and it's all good. The other thing is, then obviously on the 12th morning, we have the really large parade. And what I'm considering doing is go watch out at the City Hall, show you them arriving at the City Hall, the wreath laying ceremony, and then back, and then possibly up Royal Avenue a bit, where it's a little bit noisier, and show you all that. Yeah, there's a couple of small issues with that. One is it's going to take you at least 2 hours to get out of Craigie Hill Estate after it and back down the road again, which makes it very problematic. I was considering going. I'm probably going to go up there through the week just to have a look at it before it burns because I want to see that big bastard in person. Uh, and for those of you that are not, hold on, not from Northern Ireland, I'll gather up a little picture of a bonfire. This one's in Portadown, I believe. Here we go. Nice little bonfire in Portadown. This is the sort of shit that we burn in July. Yeah, the Carry Hill is fucking massive. It's 300 rows currently. Well, at least that's what was on our Facebook from earlier on. You never can't tell with them guys. It's going to be a world record, but yeah. Oh yeah. Nah, I'll zoom this in a bit, give you a bit of a perspective. The one I go to stream is not going to be this size, by the way. Yeah, look, see this little dude here climbing up down at the bottom. This is how you get up and down these, and you stand on these pallets that are sticking out to hand the pallet up to the person above you. Yeah, you're up a little high there. Yep, exactly, exactly. It's a rocket ship one this year. Uh, we'll zoom that back out again. No, mate, that one is in Portadown. I can't remember the name of the estate in Portadown, but they are. There's Little Wings. What about you? Glad to have you here. Yeah, Special K and Acid, welcome aboard. This is one of our 11 night bonfires that we light uh, on the 11th of July. I'm going to come back to that because it does sort of. Yeah, I wouldn't be climbing up one of them anymore either. Yeah. There was a time when I had to climb down anything. The Leaning Tower of Drumcrea. Yeah. And the Portadown district, their colours are still Drumcrea Parish Church. So that's still going on. It's great. Madness, right. I will take that shirt down. Right. So that's the first bit of housekeeping. I'm going to do some live streaming and show you some of the stuff that we do in July. Rags, fuck. Rags, I'm going to take a wild guess at your streaming tomorrow night, possibly at 7. If you could let me know in the chat who your guest is. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Paint my palettes blue and grey. Yes. Yes. Well, the blue palettes are a lot heavier than the normal ones, by the way. For those of you that haven't either. Right. That makes sense. I'll come back to that in a second. For those of you that have not worked somewhere where you have pallets coming through back and forward, or indeed collected for a bonfire, those blue pallets are for heavyweight stuff, and therefore the pallet the blue ones are heavier. Little Wing remembers reading the 12th day of July. Is that what Shakespeare's Twelfth Night's about? I honestly don't know. I would doubt it though. Yes, he was indeed. There is there's a lot of murals of him about the place, but there's one in the local housing estate to me. All right, was a love story. It's not. It's different. Not the 12th of July we were talking about. I'm talking about, but I hope you enjoyed the love story. Uh, Yep, he is quite famous, and the song is quite good. Right. Rex has got John Lawrence from the National Housing Party United Kingdom, who also have a Northern Ireland branch going now, by the way. Uh, that'll be a good show if you want to see what's going on in local politics. That will be good. On Tuesdays and Fridays, I believe John Davison streams at 9 o'clock. So you've got that to look forward to. If you want a if you want a non-UK based look at worldwide news, all the woke stuff, Courage is a Cure, girl's name's Robin, does a lot of content, good stuff. There's that. The other one I would like to shout out is Dave's Waffle House. If you want to dip out of politics and the woke agenda and all that stuff and just have a laugh for a while, Dave Waffle House plays to do it 8:30 every weeknight. Good show, good crack, good chat, very friendly crowd. So there's that. And there he is, lurking away. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I had that I wanted to talk about? UNN apparently is back on YouTube after a 3-year ban. I don't know who they are, what they do, why they were banned, but I'm glad they're back. Because that's exactly how I roll. Right. Now, before we get into this whole content part, out of curiosity, stick in the chat if you know nothing about the Glorious Revolution. Put a not in the chat, please. If you know if you think you know a bit about it, put a 1. And if you think you know all about it, put a 10 on it. I'm just curious as to what people's general knowledge is about this subject. Because I think pretty much, apart from races are all from England, and I think this is a bit important for English people. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to get the first bit of content up, and we're going to look at the Glorious Revolution from history. I think this could well be the History Channel because the itch looks the same. But anyway, this is where it's coming from. And that's up. Billy of Orange is involved. Lord England is on a 1, which is a little bit. That's good. That seems to be about where we're at with our level of knowledge. So let's get into it and see if we can all learn something. Heaven forbid those right-wing bastards start learning about their history. So we've got a picture of lots of people. I'll start with King James II. The Glorious Revolution, also called the Revolution of 1688. The Bloodless Revolution, which we're going to come on to because I take issue with that. And also the Glorious Deliverance, which this place is not using. It seems that this seems to be a term that's not so much in use anymore. Anyway, the revolution took place from 1688 to 1689 in England, and the time frame of that is very interesting because in order to call it a bloodless revolution, you need to cut the time to 1689, because if you go into 1690, it becomes a little bit bloody. It involved the overthrow of the Catholic King James II, who was replaced by his Protestant daughter, Mary, and her Dutch husband, William of Orange. Angle was all over it. He had the main characters. The motives for the revolution were complex and included both political and religious concerns. No shit, Sherlock. We're going to get into all of that. The event ultimately changed how England was governed. 1 second. Yeah. Sorry about that. The event ultimately changed how England was governed, giving Parliament more power over the monarchy, actually taking all the power off the monarchy, and planting seeds for the beginning of a political democracy. It didn't plant the seeds, it actually introduced a political democracy. So that is the overview, and I'm just going to check the chat. Okay, nothing we need to get into. Good. We'll start off with King James. Sorry, I need to get a bit of liquid. It's not good, I'm coughing already. King James II took the throne of England in 1865, during a time when relations between Catholics and Protestants were tense. They were little more than tense. There was also considerable friction between the monarchy and the British Parliament. That there was. James, who was a Catholic, supported the freedom of worship for Catholics and appointed Catholic officers to the army. He also had close ties with France, a relationship that concerned many of the English people. And we are going to get in very shortly to why employing these Catholics in places of authority was problematic. In 1687, King James II issued a declaration of indulgence which suspended penal laws against Catholics and granted acceptance of some Protestant dissenters. Later that year, the king formally dissolved his parliament and attempted to create a new parliament that would support him unconditionally. Now, whenever they say the penal laws against Catholics, these were generally laws against Catholics holding high office or stuff like that. I'm not 100% sure. James's daughter, Mary, a Protestant, was a rightful heir to the throne until 1688, when James had a son, James Francis Edward Stuart, whom he announced would be raised a Catholic. The birth of James's son changed the line of succession, right? And we're going to get into the line of succession. This has got a lot to do with why this happened. And many feared a Catholic dynasty in England was imminent. The Whigs, the main group that opposed the Catholic succession, were especially outraged. The king's elevation of Catholicism, his close relationship with France, and his conflict with Parliament, and uncertainty over who would succeed James on the English throne, led to whispers of revolt and ultimately the fall of James II. Now, here's what I want to get into. First of all, I want to get back to the chat. Tully Carna, how to still do. I'm working. Right, okay, nothing there I need to get into. Right, now, so it's talking about that there's problems between Protestants and Catholics, uh, Catholics in the church, Catholic. So, what I'm going to run through very quickly is where we are. So, Henry VIII came in. Henry VIII was being pressured by the Vatican, as were three kings before him. The Vatican, what it tended to do was uh, what how the Vatican worked was if it wanted a king of a country to do something, it would make something that that king was doing a sin and tell the king that they had to change their policy or lose their immortal soul, which is a bit of a lather. Uh, so Henry VIII, the final straw was the divorce monarchy. He went, fuck this shit, created the Church of England. Church of England becomes the official church in England, the only church that can be used. Things go along. Then we have, there's a couple of kings that's going along, not great, but not terribly badly. And then we have Queen Mary I comes to the throne, 1553 to 1558. She was known as Bloody Mary. Became known as Bloody Mary, and that's where the name of the vodka cocktail comes from. That was put in the general parliament so that people would remember who she was. So, why was Bloody Mary called Bloody Mary? Well, she came to the throne as a Catholic, and she decided she was going to persecute the Protestants, which was done in with trumped up charges, sentencing that was way past what it should have been. And also, during Bloody Mary's reign, 58, 53, yeah, for those 5 years, she on average burnt a Protestant at the stake once a week. In fact, 2 days before she died, she ordered her last Protestant turned on the candle and burnt at the stake. Which is why Protestants started to have a bit of a problem with the monarchy. And also they had a Protestant monarchy previous to that, which didn't do this shit. Then we had Elizabeth I, who was so-so. James I of Scotland come in. Go with the he failed to enact the Magna Carta. He was doing his own thing. Was raising taxes, totally of his own. By the way, oh yeah, it is. It's a good cocktail, and I also think that maybe you want to remember that the reason for its name is the one Protestant a week burnt at the stake. I think you might want to remember that. It's not good. Charles wouldn't do what Charles first wouldn't do what Parliament said. He was waging wars. He was raising taxes. He was doing everything without Parliament's consent, which caused the English Civil War. Then they executed him. Oh, it's very fucking horrific. So Charles I, he gets executed. We'll have a civil war. We'll have Cromwell ruling for a while. Then we'll have Charles II, who was very good. He tried to build bridges between Protestants and Catholics and run a nice nation from 60 to from 1660 to 1685. So you get 25 years of relative peace and calm and decent laws. James II, son of James I, comes in. He starts doing all the same shit that the Star was doing. He doesn't agree to what Parliament's doing. He tries to shut down Parliament. He tries to raise taxes. He tries to start unjust wars. And the people in Parliament, they're like, we've had enough of this shit. Oh, yes, and he's back to burning people at the stake and shit. So, which is not good. Burnell was very good with bridges. Oh yeah. When a woman would never fucking have a hobby of burning people at the stake right enough. That just wouldn't happen. Do you know what? It's almost like both genders have got the capacity to be very kind, and both genders have got the capacity to be pure evil. And it's the individual person, not the gender, that's causing any of that. Right. So Parliament had enough of this business of a king coming in, taking over, setting their own laws, not doing anything. And they put out a plea to help to William of Orange to come in and take over the thing with a whole bunch of regulations. And the important bit is with the bunch of regulations. No, I will tell you why we burn Republican figures on our bonfires. Because people are fucking stupid. And we do not have as tight a control on our culture as we once had, although it's a lot tighter than what they had in England. We had a bit of a lapse. It's coming back. We are returning back to the only thing being burnt, or the only effigy being burnt on bonfires in Northern Ireland, being an effigy of Lundy the traitor from the from the siege of Londonderry. Right, that's what we should be burning. But yeah, this is why we're not too pleased with the Church of Rome and the Roman Catholic Church. We didn't quite like the burning at the stake business. We didn't like this thing whereby people would gain power and use that power to persecute people. We didn't like that. And we didn't like the way it could chop and change, so we changed that. Steve Craig, welcome aboard. Here, no need to apologise. I hope Max is doing okay. I'm glad you were talking to him. Right, so we can now talk a little bit about William of Orange. Tell you who he was. In 1688, 7 of the king's peers wrote to the Dutch leader William of Orange, pledging their allegiance to the prince if he invaded England. William was already in the process of taking military action against England, and the latter served as an additional propaganda motive. William of Orange assembled an impressive armada for the invasion and landed at Torbay in Devon in November 1688. King James, however, had prepared for military attacks and left London to bring his forces to meet the invading army. But several of James's own men, including his family members, deserted him and defected to William's side. In addition to a setback, James' health was deteriorating. So King James, the young pretender, he was going to come and fight a war. Then a lot of people went, fuck that, I'm not on your side. And then he did the offski. James decided to retreat back to London on November 23rd. He soon announced that he was willing to agree a free parliament but was making plans to free the country for his own safety. And by a free parliament, what he means is a parliament where he would not, as king, just set down all the laws and try to force the members of parliament to ratify them. In December 1688, King James made an attempt to escape but was captured. Later that month, he made another attempt and successfully fled to France, where his Catholic cousin, Louis the XIV, I'm not sure, the French just had too many fucking Louis, held the throne, where James eventually died in exile in 1701. He had a bit of an adventure in between. So what I want to look at is the letter that was sent to William. Yes, Budgie. Catholics did seem to be rather fond of the torture, especially with their inquisitions and shit. They were very fond of it. Yeah, except there's no real evidence that he was a homosexual. This is the same as everybody being gay, everybody being trans, everybody in history being non-binary. It's more bullshit. Coming on saying, right. Sorry, I was just checking through the comments. I'll hide that one. And what I want to do is I can take you down for a minute. And I want to get the letter, which is going to come from the National Archives, the letter that was sent to William. Oh, hold on. Why is this not working? Right. Sorry. I had a little bit of a right boomer moment. Sorry, people. And we're back. What we're looking at here is an extract from a letter sent to Prince of Orange of England to become King of England on June 30th, 1688. There you go. There's the letter. There's a picture of William. And this letter was signed by 7 English noblemen known as the Immortal Seven, who invited William of Orange to be King of England to dispose of King James II, 1685 to 88. In the letter, 35 was the secret code word for Edward Russell, Admiral of the Fleet and leading politician. James II was unpopular because of his support of the Catholic religion. Well, he was unpopular because of support of burning at the stake of anyone that disagreed with you via the method of the Catholic religion. William of Orange was married to Mary, eldest daughter of James II, by his first marriage, Anne Hyde. Mary had been brought up as a Protestant. When James married again, and his wife Mary Moldova gave birth to a son, James Francis Edward Stuart, or the Old Pretender, which is the father. Fears grew of the creation of a Catholic monarchy. William of Orange arrived in England in November 1688 and faced little opposition. That would come later. The event became known as the Glorious Revolution. The transcript. We have great satisfaction to find by 35. So 35 was Edward Russell, Admiral of the Fleet. And since by M. Sallusti, that your Highness is so ready and willing to give us such assistance as they have related to us. We have great reason to believe that we shall be every day in a worse condition than we are, and less able to defend ourselves. So what they're saying is, we're currently in the shit and it's getting worse. We need you over here before it gets to the point where we can't retrieve the situation. And therefore, we do earnestly wish we might be so happy as to find a remedy before it is too late for us to contribute to our own deliverance. And this is where the phrase the glorious deliverance comes from. But although those be our wishes, yet we will by no means be put your Highness into any expectations which may misguide your own counsels on this matter. So the best advice we can give is to inform your Highness, your Highness, truly both of the state of things here at this time and the difficulties which appear to us. As to the first, the people are so generally dissatisfied with the present conduct of the government in relation to their religion, liberties, and properties. Hold on. Their issue was their government was not giving deference to their religion, their liberties, their properties, all of which have been greatly invaded. Does that sound familiar? It does to me. And they are in such expectations as their prospects being daily worse, that your Highness may be assured that there are 19 parts of 20 of the people throughout the kingdom who are desirous to change. So they're saying for every 20 people, 19 of them would be quite happy if you come over, knock the fuck out of James, take us over, and put in peace and quiet. And the simplified transcript is, we are so pleased to hear that your Highness is willing to help us. We strongly believe that England gets worse by the day and we need to protect ourselves before it is too late. We don't want to give the wrong picture about things and think that it's best to explain to you what has happened. First of all, the people are very unhappy with the present government, which threatens our religion, freedom, and property. By property, that also means taxes. You can believe that 19 out of 20 people want the change of a king. So this is a big chunk of why William come over. I'm going to drop that one out, go back to StreamYard, check comments. So I'm just checking it. Budgie Burger, what about you, Sean? Paranormal Channel X. A couple of people come in. That's all good. Right. So let us go back to where we were. Where were we? We were on the Glorious Revolution. And we've done the William of Orange and the letter. Now, so there's a deal done with William of Orange, Aunt Mary, come over, become king and queen. But it's not just as simple as that. There's a deal done between Parliament and William and Mary as to how this is going to work. And how it's going to work is William and Mary are going to be king and queen, but they're not going to have any power to just do anything. All of the laws that they create are going to come via the Parliament. The Parliament has to meet regularly and produce the laws. The king and queen must agree the laws and bring them out to the people, which means that the king has no power and also needs to give all his possessions to the country. And you're thinking, why would he do that? What's he getting in return? What he's getting in return for this is his lineage guaranteed. He's marrying the rules of succession with Parliament so that we no longer have a case where another king can come in, win a war, become king, and just take over the Parliament. That's not going to work because we now, this is putting in the rules that the succession is going to be this family. There's going to be rules about it. Who can be king and queen, who cannot be king and queen, who's going to get into the line of succession. And that's going to protect the, so it's not a swap. They've made themselves jointly required of each other, if that makes any sense. So, Bill of Rights. In January 1689, the now famous Convention Parliament met. What significant pressure from After significant pressure from William, Parliament agreed to a joint monarchy, with William as king and James's daughter Mary as queen. The two new rulers accepted more restrictions for Parliament than any previous monarch, causing an unprecedented shift in the distribution of power throughout the British realm, and also creating a system which still is in place today. This is where pretty much this is the formation of England, Great Britain, and the United Kingdom. Pretty much all stem from this. If you take this out, it never fucking happens, right? So the king and queen both sign a Declaration of Rights, which means, by the way, you English people do have a Declaration of Rights. You do have a Bill of Rights that is enshrined in law. You just ain't been fucking told about it. It's a bit of a pain in the arse. The King and Queen both signed the Declaration of Rights, which became known as the Bill of Rights. This document acknowledged several constitutional principles, including the right of regular parliaments, free elections, freedom of speech in Parliament. And I'm going to come back to this a couple of times. Whenever you hear about members of Parliament stuff using parliamentary privilege, that parliamentary privilege comes from this Bill of Rights, that they could not be prosecuted away from Parliament for things that they said in Parliament. And it also spread in the law as a general thing as things became more restricted, as we got the country more stable. Additionally, it forbid the monarchy from being Catholic. Now, why would that be? Every time the Catholics got in power, every time the Catholics got a position of power, they overused it. If they were a tax collector, they overtaxed the Parliament, the Protestant. If they were on a jury, the Protestant was guilty. If they were a state prosecutor, charges were invented for Protestants, particularly people who were politically active. We'll go out and we'll find some menial thing, and we will prosecute you beyond the point of the normal law we would do to other people who we are politically aligned with. Does that sound familiar? And if they were the king, they would order the candles and burn the Protestants at the stake. We didn't really want that. So we put in this rule. If you have this belief system, if you like doing that sort of stuff, okay, we're going to allow you to be a Catholic. We're not going to burn you at the stake for it, but by fuck, you're not going to be allowed to run the country. And that was the deal that was done. Now, I think I have a... I honestly don't know. Uh, yeah, the burn at the stake is a little harsh. Uh, 1 second. I think I have a quote from the. No, I've lost my quote. One, 1 second. I'm just. Ah, that's not the thing I wanted. Right, sorry. We are back. Where was I? Yes. Right, so we said we didn't want any of those. Special care and asset. Well, many happy returns. You lived at the greatest moment of our civilization. Uh, right. Sorry. No. And I want to say a couple of things about this. The Bloodless Revolution. The Glorious Revolution is sometimes dubbed the Bloodless Resolution, although this description isn't entirely accurate. While there was a little bloodshed and while there was little bloodshed and violence in England, the revolution led to significant loss of life in Ireland and Scotland. Well, Ireland really. Catholic historians typically refer to the Glorious Revolution as the Revolution of 1688, while Whig historians prefer the phrase the Bloodless Revolution. The term Glorious Revolution was coined by John Hampden in 1689. So, what's the legacy out of all of this? Uh, Most historians believe that the Glorious Revolution was one of the most important leading events leading to Britain's transformation from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional monarchy. After this event, the monarchy in England would never hold absolute power again. With the Bill of Rights, Regent's power was now defined, written down and limited for the first time. Parliament's functional influence changed dramatically in the years following the Revolution. The event also had an impact on the 13 colonies in North America. The colonists were temporarily freed of strict anti Puritan laws after King James was overthrown. When news of the revolution reached the Americas, several uprisings followed, including the Boston Revolt, Lancers Rebellion in New York, and the Protestant Revolution in Maryland, which I'm actually going to have to look into because I don't know anything about that. Since the Glorious Revolution, Parliament's power in Britain has continued to increase, while the monarchy's influence has waned. There has also been not one person burnt at the stake. There is no doubt this important event helped set stage for the United Kingdom's present day political system of government. I'm going to drop that out. Yes, this information is 100% correct. Fact check verified. There may be other small interpretations about causes or whatnot, but the actual facts of the matter are 100%. And I'm going to prove that out because I'm going to give you all a second source. Uh, not only was King James paranoid, King James believed in whatever the fuck he was supposed to believe in at that moment. But these revolutions were prior to commification of anything. And whenever the commies had their revolutions later on, they used the word. So it's not it's safe. It's a safe revolution. We're allowed this one. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Right. That's just all good. No, the church wasn't in charge. Parliament's been in charge since then. It turns out that the Protestant churches didn't rule everybody with a iron fist in the same way that the Vatican did. They didn't just put out a papal bull and decide that, no, meat was the sin on a Friday. Boss, thanks, mate. I'm glad to hear the auto's going good. What do we want? We're in 51 minutes. What have I that I wanted to... right. Okay, yes. We are going to go with... right, we're going to have a little musical interlude, and then we're going to have another look at this from the Orange Order perspective. And for a musical interlude, what more fitting than the green grassy slopes of the Boyne? Present, share screen, share screen. Well,
some folks sing of mountains and valleys where the wildflowers abundantly grow, and some of the wave-crested billows that dash beneath the waters below. But I'm going to sing of rivers, and I hope in the chorus you'll join, of the deeds that were done by King William on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne. On the green grassy slopes of the Boyne, where the armed men with William did join, and they fought for our glorious deliverance on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne. On the banks of that beautiful river, there the bones of our forefathers lie, awaiting the sound of the trumpet to call them to glory on high. In our hearts we will cherish their memories, and we all like we brethren will join, and praise God for sending us King William to the green grassy slopes of the Boyne. On the green grassy slopes of the Boyne, where the armed men with William did join, and they fought for our glorious deliverance on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne. Orange men will be loyal and steady, for no matter whatever may betide, we will still mind our war cry, no surrender, so long as we've God on our side. And if ever our services is needed, then we all like we brethren will join, and fight like we valiant King William on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne. On the green grassy slopes of the Boyne, where the Orangemen with William did join, and they fought for our glorious deliverance
Whoa!
on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne.
All right. There you go. There's a wee bit of the green grassy slopes of the Boyne. And also, I know that it's called the Glorious Deliverance because it's in the song. There you go. This is how oral history and traditional history works. We bake it into the pie. Now, this is from the House of Orangeism. And we're going to have a look at what the Orange Order, who are a religious and political institution who look after our history and make sure we don't forget things. Oh. Right. I got a question for you English people. See this thing where this is about the forming of your country and how your laws work and giving you rights and all that. Do you think that it should be celebrated in England, or at least remembered, and maybe figure out how your country works? Do you think that should be part of the zeitgeist for average, ordinary, everyday people in the form of festivals that will help people remember? Or no? I'm curious about that. I will come back and check the chat. I know it takes a while for there's a delay, and then people has to think about what they're writing. And this is looking fucking smaller than small. I'm going to zoom this in. No. What happens if I move this up a bit? No, it doesn't. Fuck. Right. Sorry. Right. That works. No, it doesn't. That's too fucking small. Nah. Right. It's going to have to just deal with it being small on the screen. So, got a picture of William and Mary. Revolution 1688-1689 was glorious because in England it was bloodless and was supported by the mass of the country, thus achieving permanence with the Cromwellian settlement, a prominence which the Cromwellian settlement lacked. It was also glorious because in retrospect we can see that it followed religious tolerance, freedom of speech, and the press. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whenever we brought this in, we also introduced freedom of the press, liberty of the subject, independence of judges to interpret the law, and the development, both at home and overseas, of parliamentary democracy and constitutional monarchy. So, in other words, we made it a fair legal system for everyone. When he became king, James II's first step was to summon a parliament and to demand that they vote him revenues for life. Parliament duly obliged, but never again to this day have they handed over control of finances for more than a year at a time, thus ensuring the Parliament must meet every year to govern, or government grinds to a halt. Right, so King James it went, yeah, just give me the money forever, and Parliament were like, yeah, no, we can't be doing that. Now that his basic revenue was secured, James asked Parliament to repeal the Test Act, the Habeas Corpus Act, and other laws which hampered his executive actions. He thought secure in the knowledge that the Tory principle of non-resistance would ensure compliance. So even back then, we knew that people like us are not very good at pushing back against things against us. We have a tendency to put up with more shit than we should. The defeat of two rebellions made James more confident, and his admiration for the policy of Louis the XIV in revoking the Edict of Nantes led him on to destruction. James's ministers, Sunderland and Jeffreys, told him whatever he wanted to hear. James now had a great army raised to suppress Monmouth's rebellion, with many Roman Catholic officers holding commissions illegally, contrary to the Test Act. He now openly avoided the intention of keeping it permanently, and having it reinforced by bringing over regiments newly raised from Ireland. So basically, he's creating a standing army that he's not supposed to, bringing more people over, costing people more money, and they're a bit pissed off. Parliament returned in November 1685 to face a demand from the king for an additional large sum of money to pay for the greatly increased army. This time they did not fall into a trap prepared for him, but proposed that the standing army be disbanded and that James rely on the militia. They annoyed him further by demanding that he discharge his Roman Catholic officers. And by doing that, what we're saying is we can't trust these people. We don't know what they're going to do. Every time they get a chance, they fucking go par mad. That needs to stop. However, the true party of ways was the refusal of a Tory Parliament to repeal the Test Act, which excluded Roman Catholic and Protestant dissenters from office. So, if you wanted to have a job in high office, you had to totally comply with the Church of England. You could be a Presbyterian Protestant, but that wasn't going to cut it. You had to be Church of England. It was Church of England or nothing, or no job in public office for you. If he had only sought religious tolerance, he could have had it, and that is what Pope Innocent the 11th and the Roman Catholic aristocrats advised. So this is the rumor that William was paid by the Pope to come and do this for some reason. He wasn't paid by the Pope, but the Vatican's official thing on this was, no, let's not have a war, just let them have a bit of tolerance. Sorry, I need to cough. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Now I've got a chance. Yeah. But you don't seem to have one for this. We do in Northern Ireland. Bit weird. Where was I? James, however, desired ascendancy for his co-religionists and not toleration. So he wasn't looking for Catholics to be on a level with Protestants. He wanted them to be above Protestants. He wanted to drive Protestants down on the ground. If Parliament would not do his bidding, then he would manage without it. After sitting for only 11 days, Parliament was prorogued. The kings of England before the Revolution had always claimed an undefined right in special cases to set law aside. It was known as the royal prerogative and could be useful in allowing justice to be tempered with mercy. So the idea of the royal prerogative was, right, I know you've done wrong, but I'm not going to prosecute you to the full extent of the law. You're going to have this punishment instead. But James was using it to take out wholesale laws. James, however, now proposed to use it to repeal laws wholesale. In April 1688, James's Privy Council issued an order in council instructing the Declaration of Indulgence to be read 2 successive Sundays at divine service in all parish churches. So he's fucking with the church. In London, the dates were specified as 20th and 27th of May. And in the rest of England, the 3rd and 10th of June. Copies were given to the bishops, who were directed to distribute them among the clergymen. The Archbishop of Canterbury, William Sconcoff, summoned to Lambeth Palace those bishops who were in London, and on their advice wrote to all bishops urging them to come to London at once. However, time was short and only 6 were able to assemble in Lambeth on the 18th of May. The 7 men drew up a humble petition, which after which, disclaiming all disloyal and intolerance, said, the Parliament, both in the late and present reign, had pronounced that the sovereign was not constitutionally competent to dispense with the statutes in matters ecclesiastical. The declaration was therefore illegal, and the petitioners could not in prudence honour or conscience be partner to the solemn publication of an illegal declaration in the house of God and during the time of divine service. Right, so the bishops got together and they said, this stuff doesn't fit in with our religion. We will not have it in our church. If only our religious leaders were to take a leaf out of that book and do the same with the LGBTQAI stuff that goes totally foul of the Bible and how the religion's supposed to work, life would be a lot better. The king was furious and said, this is a standard of rebellion. You are trumpeters in sedition. Go to your dioceses and see that I am obeyed. The noble and saintly Bishop Ken replied, we have 2 duties to perform, our duty to God and our duty to your majesty. We honour you, but we fear God. So this is where the phrase fear God and honour the king comes from. On the 18th of June, all 7 bishops were summoned to Whitehall, but on refusing to withdraw their petition, they were sent to the Tower by boat to face trial for seditious libel. On June 29th, a vast throng surrounded Westminster Hall, where the Court of King's Bench was to hear the case. In spite of the King's purge of the judges, 2 of the 4 hearing the case advised the jury in favour of the accused, for which they were dismissed from the bench the following week. The jury were held up all night by a single dissenter, but next day came the unanimous verdict of not guilty. The rest of the day and night were given over to celebrations with bonfires, with windows illuminated with 7 candles. Even the king's troops on Hounslow Heath cheered to the echo when they heard the news. However, James was in no mood to give up. Interestingly, bonfires, traditional thing we do for a celebration. However, James was in no mood to give up. He now had new hope. A few weeks before, a son had been born to his second wife, Mary of Modena. To Protestants, this was the last straw. So he now had a Catholic heir that he could put on the throne and create a fucking dynasty with all this fucking mayhem. That night, a document was secretly dispatched to William of Orange, inviting him to come over to England with a military force round which he would rally the country against the government of James. William, Prince of Orange, had no easy task. The United Provinces were a federation of republics under the immediate French threat of the French. Many of the Dutch were suspicious of the House of Orange, but William had proved this worth during the French invasions of 1672, when he took command and drove the French out of the country at the age of 21. Permission from the States General would have been obtained before he could sail with the expeditionary force. At the crucial moment, both Lewis and James played into his hands. James refused help and advice from Lewis, who, in a fit of plague, marched his forces away from the Dutch border to attack the Rhineland, leaving the way clear for William. There was still the problem of the English fleet and army, though efforts were being made to persuade their commanders to play for time. After a false start in the Protestant east wind blew on the 1st of November and the fleet sailed. At noon on the 5th November 1688, the ships anchored in Torbay and William was rowed ashore at Brixham. Some 12,000 men were landed in the next few days, only about half the size of a regular forces in James' pay. The English and Scottish regiments in Dutch pay very sensibly formed a fan as the Dutch recruited soldiers from all the Protestant countries of Europe. It was a very cosmopolitan army. Right, so Holland had a Dutch army. Dutch people or Protestant people that wanted to fight for a Protestant cause came and joined that army. Off it went to England. William gave James plenty of time to consider his position. First, James fled to Sheerness on the Isle of Skippy, but was captured by some fishermen and taken to Forshagen and brought back to London. The next time he was taken to Rochester at the mouth of the River Medway, and from there he managed to get away to France, allowing William to reach London unopposed. The first task was to fill a vacant throne, as without a sovereign there could be no legal parliament. A convention was summoned consisting of the members still surviving of the last parliament of Charles II, and thus overcoming the effect of James's purges. William was not prepared to be a regent or a consort, as the Tories would have preferred, so both parties agreed that William and Mary being joint sovereigns, and the agreed formula read that King James II, having endeavoured to subvert the constitution of the kingdom by breaking the original contract between the king and the people, and by the advice of Jesuits and other wicked persons, and having violated the fundamental laws and withdrawn himself out of the kingdom, had abducted the government, and that the throne is thereby vacant. So they didn't need to have to be a war or anything. They said, I tell you what, you would still be king, but you fucked off. So now the king's empty, and this one is just going to take it. It hath been found by experience to be inconsistent with this Protestant kingdom to be governed by a papish prince or any king or queen marrying a papist, etc. What's also quite interesting is that while we decided that there must be a Protestant king, we also decided that the places of power, members of parliament, the prime minister must be a Protestant. And that stood until, I'm going to say, Tony Blair. Tony Blair was probably officially an atheist whenever he was a prime minister, but the first act he did whenever he stopped being prime minister and after fucking destroying our country, changing our laws, changing our constitution, doing away with law lords, was to become a Catholic. So I think their point about those people not being good for the country have been found by experience to be inconsistent with this Protestant kingdom, to be governed by one of these people. I think they're right. The other person, interestingly, Boris fucking Johnson, never really declared what his religion was until he got married in a chapel. And if that hadn't have been broke then, I'm not sure what religion or current and past prime minister are, but I think if I had kept that rule in place, things might have worked out a bit better. I don't know. What do you think? I'm going to check the chat. I'm not sure. Sorry, I was just checking through the chat. Bindip, Shagweasel, Master TV, the ET, Son of Man. Welcome aboard, people. Very glad to have you here. If any of you are new and you want to hit that subscribe button, that'll be good because I've been on like 788, 789 for I don't know how long. So if we get another 2, possibly 3, get me past that 90, I would love that. And now we're going to talk about the Bill of Rights. Sorry, 1 second. I need to get a drink. Right. Sorry, where was it? Check, I haven't muted myself. I haven't. That's good. Bar some kind of weird turkey stew. Turns out it was a fucking bead rattler angle. Oh, fuck. Here, Bean Deep, I'm glad you're enjoying the information. With the history, culture, every Saturday night, British history, traditions, and culture. Come back, got some more information. These people, they ain't bots. They turn up every week and they actually interact like human beings. It's fucking great. I love it. Quite surprised. I'm amazed, but I do love it. Right. So, on the 12th February 1689, Mary arrived from Holland, and on the following day, at the banqueting house of Whitehall, the prince and princesses were proclaimed king and queen in the usual places in the cities of London and Westminster. As the kingdom now had a king and queen, a parliament could legally be constituted, so the convention was converted into parliament and proceeded to pass the Bill of Rights of Parliamentary Statute. The declaring ratification of the abuse of power of the previous reign had been one of the great big charters of the British Isles. By the Bill of Rights in 1689 AD, the following acts were declared illegal. Right, people, listen in and be prepared to clip this bit. we're going to go through the English Bill of Rights. I'm going to zoom this in just a little bit for this bit because it'll make it easier to see on the screen. We don't need any of this. One in the chat if you knew you had a Bill of Rights, and a 5 in the chat if you're surprised by the fact that A, this is still on the books, and B, these are your rights enshrined in law that have been since 1689. 1. The royal person to dispense. The royal person to dispense with and suspend laws without consent of Parliament. Not allowed to do that anymore. The king can no longer just walk out and say these laws are gone. If you want to change laws, you have to go through the Parliament. The punishment of subjects for petitioning the crown. Right, so what we had was a situation whereby if you wrote letters to the crown or even Parliament, and the crown or Parliament didn't like what you said, maybe they thought it wasn't good, they could punish you, and that became illegal. You're allowed to petition whoever you want to petition, and you shall not face, provided you go through it in the correct manner. Like if your petition comes from wrapped around the stone that you threw at the person, that's not going to work so well for you. You need to go through the proper channels. Okay. The establishment of the legal court of High Commission for ecclesiastical affairs. And remember, you're not allowed to do this. So this is like the commissions that they would have for an inquisition to torture people over their religious faith. So you're not allowed to do that no more. And definitely no more burning at the stake. The levy of taxes without consent of Parliament. So the king can't just walk out and say, right, you all need to give me money. 1 second, I need to cough. Got a will of blights. The maintenance of a standing army in time of peace without the consent of Parliament. So if you want to use money to set up an army, that's fine. You can do that. We still have one of those, just about. But it has to be organised through Parliament. The disarmament of Protestants while Papists were armed and employed contrary to law. See, we did actually have gun rights in this country at one stage. It was a right you just had. And under this charter, it's not allowed to be removed. It seems we forgot that. I think at the time, whenever the gun control started to come in, we should have had a look at the Bill of Rights. The violation of freedom of election. Right. So you're not allowed to just go, this Parliament we've now got, it's just staying forever. We're not going to put it to people for elections. You have to hold regular elections. Taking legal action outside Parliament about debates and speeches in Parliament. Interesting one, this. This is the law under which parliamentary privilege is. Now, what that means is you're not allowed to. It means that inside Parliament they can say absolutely anything that they want. There's the beginning of free speech, but it does go further than. But this is also outlawing the practice of prosecuting people for their political beliefs or opinions on other trumped-up charges, such as religious things and heresy. The return of partial or corrupt juries. So what they would have done was, if they had, for example, 10 people on a jury, 5 of them are Protestants, 5 of them are Catholics. The 5 Protestants have looked at the evidence and went, actually, there's nothing here to charge. And the Catholics are going, he's a Protestant, he's guilty. They would remove the Protestants off the jury to return a partial jury, or they would do stuff to try to corrupt the juries to make them give the verdict that they wanted. The requisition of excessive bail. So you weren't allowed to just tell people, I'm going to throw you in jail, and if you want to stay out on your own cognizance, you have to give me loads and loads and loads of money, more than you can afford, to the point where you're not even going to ask for the bail, you're just going to go into jail. So that was barred. The imposition of excessive fines. Again, the notion that fines will be set at a affordable amount. You're not allowed to just you're not allowed to take something that should be a fucking £2 fine and make it a £200 fine on the basis of who it is that committed the offence. The infliction of cruel and unusual punishments. This is things like cutting fingers off, plunging people's hands into a pot of boiling water, and then coming back in 4 days' time to see whether or not the healing process had began, and on the basis of that, judging their guilt or innocence. All of that type of stuff, that's all gone. We're going to do it properly through a court of law, and the punishments are going to be sensible. Oh, and also, no more burning at the stake. There was one person that was burnt at the stake, and they used green wood, and it hadn't been fully dried and everything, and that fucker took 14 hours a day. Yeah, maybe good to get rid of that stuff. And the forfeiting of property of accused persons before conviction. So they couldn't just go, you're accused and you're going to be guilty, so we're going to take your shit. There's that. Further acts of the Revolution Settlement, the Toleration Act of 1689. As promised, all religious but no civic disabilities. Hold on, I need to zoom this back in again. Or back out. Maybe I do. Yep. As promised, all religious but no civil disabilities were removed from the freedom of worship of Protestant dissenters, including Presbyterians, Independents, and Quakers, but not Unitarians. Now, this is actually quite interesting, because we keep on being told that tolerance is a great British tradition. And this is where this tradition comes from. It comes from the Toleration Act of 1689, where we decided to be tolerant of Protestants who were not necessarily Church of England, not tolerant of Roman Catholics, not tolerant of non-British people, not tolerant in the way it is used today. If we could get our tolerance back to the 1689 version, where you can practice whatever religion you want, you can have whatever political opinion you want, but if we don't like it, you ain't getting a job running the country. If we could get back to that, I think this country would work a hell of a lot better. William would have been glad to extend this freedom also to Roman Catholics, as was the practice in Holland, but the country was not prepared for such a move for another 100 years. I would say it's still not, because England to me does seem to have a bit of a divide on its people, between people who climate activists who are currently arguing in court that their crimes were not crimes because they were done for climate, in the same way that uh, at that time Catholics were claiming that their crimes were not crimes because they were done in support of the Roman Catholic Church. I think we need to end our tolerance of climate activists. They seem to be the same type of people doing the same sort of shit, and they should be removed from public office. And definitely punished properly for their crimes. However, in practice, the spirit of New Age of toleration in England ensured that the laws was not enforced rigidly. So we allowed more mingling with different religions than should have happened. The Mutiny Act of 1689, the Crown remained as the authority to which the Army and Navy gave their allegiances, and was still in command of the armed forces. Yet the Parliament, by the Mutiny Act, granted authority to the Crown to enforce the discipline of court-martial for only 1 year at a time. Henceforth, these would be held not at the will of the king, but so long as they behaved properly. The Crown could no longer dismiss judges. So the king couldn't just go, "You're a bad judge, fuck off. You look like you'd be a good judge, go be a judge." That was gone. Tenniel Act of 1694, to ensure that the parliaments themselves present themselves to their electorate at regular intervals. This act was passed, limiting the life of the parliament to 3 years. It was later extended to 5. It was also laid down that there must not be a long interval between parliaments. So whenever you parole one, there has to be the next one coming along. You can't just leave the country to go willy-nilly. Treason Act. Henceforth, public justice was to be impartial and no longer a mere instrument of the crown. So we supposedly ended our political persecutions and prosecutions, although that does seem to have been brought back for people like us that like to read fucking history. Strange that. Freedom of press. So, Freedom of the Press Act in 1695. Hitherto, it had been necessary to obtain a license before printing a book, pamphlet, or newspaper. The Revolution secured the right to print and publish matter obnoxious to the government by the abolition of the Censorship Act of 1695. I think you can all think of someone that maybe published something somewhere that was declared to be obnoxious for potato, because that's the only reason I can see. But yet, withal, he should have been totally within his rights to do that since 1695. Of course, there was still a risk of action before a court of law for sedition, slander, libel, blasphemy. England, in this respect, laid the world in the first great power to obtain a free press. And we are one of the first to fucking remove that free press altogether whatsoever. So there you go. There is the Glorious Revolution as told by the Orange Order. Now, I'm going to go on this. I'll take you down for a minute. I don't want to check the chat. I also want to check where we are. Well, does anyone ever get justice? There's Linda Hunter in from Down Under. Evening. No, these are the laws that we actually have and the rights that we actually have. Uh, although it seems we forgot we had them, didn't stand up for them, and then we lose them again, which is how that tends to go. And with that, I'm going to have another musical interlude. And I think I'll need to do that. I think we'll have a little bit of harmony, melody, and rhyme. Well, song, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Adidas, can't be an orange kit, no idea. Have a little bit of harmony, melody, and rhyme.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. From that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing world. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. You never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme. The sun each became a deity, independent parts of another trilogy. Is it a coincidence or is it just sublime that we now bring excellence in harmony, melody, and rhyme? With power and wealth, you control the mainstream, but you never realized you could not kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
There we go. Wee bit of harmony, melody, and rhyme. Bitchute, I'm going to get some drums going very shortly. Right. Very quickly. I'm going to do a very little quick bit about the Battle of the Boyne. Because this ties in. So what happened was, after all of that, James goes to France, comes back into Ireland, and then he's got an army coming up through Ireland, going to attack England, and William goes across, and they have the Battle of the Boyne, actually. And then the Battle of Aughrim a year later, but this is the one that ends up celebrated for reasons. Pardon me, sorry. So I'm going to do a very quick talk about this. Right. Battle of Boyne, 1690. Having landed at Carrickfergus on the 14th of June, 1690, William marched south to engage the Jacobite army along the River Boyne on the 1st of July, 1690. It's celebrated on the 12th of July because we've had a calendar change and all sorts of madness. But the field is well advanced. The Irish retreated before him, so that in the field, the Irish retreated, as William advanced, the Irish retreated before him, so that by 30th June, the army had reached the top of the hill near the southern frontier of County Louth, which is just across the border from Ulster. In the valley beyond was the River Boyne, marking the boundary of Louth and Meath. Down the Boyne and Old Bridge, the river could be forded. William viewed the terrain and thought it suitable for a battle which should be short and conclusive. The two kings had advanced advantages over one another. James had a stronger position, but his troops appeared to be in inferior quality and quantity. He had about 30,000 men, of which a third were very good French infantry and equally fine Irish cavalry. William had 36,000 men of various nationalities and languages. the preparation. When William studied the enemy across the point, he agreed with his generals that they were not impressive to look at, but added, "They may be stronger than they look, but weak or strong, I will soon know all about them." The Irish recognised William, and a marksman fired at him. When it struck the gun holster of Prince George of Hassel, William cried, "The poor prince is killed." As he spoke, a second shot tore his coat and grazed his shoulder and drew blood. When William slumped over, the Irish thought he had been killed. His men were shocked but quickly relieved when he said, "There is no harm done." The bullet came quite close enough. His injury did not prevent him spending 19 hours in the saddle that day. So he took one on the shoulder and he stayed on his horse. Having assured himself that his men were as ready for battle as he was, he advised his officers that he intended to engage the enemy. The armies began to move at 4 a.m. on the 1st of July. William ordered his right wing, under the command of Menfart Smoggart, a son of the old Duke, to march to the bridge at Slane, a few miles up the river. The troops were to cross there and to turn the left flank of the Irish army. James anticipated the move and dispatched Sir Neil O'Neill, nephew of Tarnacle, with the regiment of dragoons to turn the Williamites back. But when O'Neill received a mortal wound, his men fled to make a clear way for the forces of King William. Lawrence, the French commander, feared that William's right wing would come up to the rear of James's forces and decided to march with his French soldiers and Salford's cavalry in the direction of Slane Bridge. This direction meant that the fords near Old Bridge were left to be defended only by Irish foot soldiers. When the battle was joined, they were easily defeated. Richard Hamilton put himself at the head of the cavalry, and under his command they tried to change course of the battle. Fighting desperately in the bed of the point against Sholmes Blues, they drove the Danish brigade back and successfully attacked the Huguenots. These are the same Huguenots that came to England and indeed Ireland whenever they were being persecuted in France. Duke Schomberg, watching from the northern bank, decided that the situation needed a general's intervention. And though not wearing defensive armour, he rode into the fray crying, "Come on, gentlemen, there are your persecutors." These were his last words after being circled by Irish cavalrymen. When they moved on, he was found dead, killed by 2 sabre wounds in his head and a bullet in the neck. King William arrived where the battle was hottest. In his presence, the tide was turned in his favour. Hence the song, "There was Fenians on the left, there was Fenians on the right, there's King Billy in the middle, and he taught them how to fight." But, sorry, Belfast childhood. Sorry. The Lord Macaulay said of William, "One of the peculiarities of the man, ordinarily so saturnine and reserved, was that the danger acted on him like wine, opened his heart, loosened his tongue, and took away all appearance of restraint from his manner. On this memorable day, he was seen wherever the peril was greatest. The man came to life in battle." On the other hand, James, with his reputation as a soldier, was so concerned for his own safety to stay well away from the heat of the battle. When he realised that he was defeated at the point, he deserted the scene of the battle and made for Dublin with a bodyguard commanded by Sarsfield. He was followed by his troops, who had suffered fewer losses than might have been expected, probably because they ran away. The reason for that was that William did not pursue them with the kind of enthusiasm and energy he had shown in war. The losses of the Battle of Boyne were much less than that of any battle of equal importance. The decisive battle was actually Acre, which was like a carbon copy, more or less, of the Boyne. As a result, the Battle of Boyne was the most. The Battle of Boyne was the most famous of Irish battles, for it represented in Europe. Of a day a single success for the Grand Alliance against Louis the XIV. The drama of the two kings fighting at an Irish river for an English throne was a sensation in itself. The fact that they represented the two major power groups in Europe and were supported by international armies gave the Boyne universal significance. The fight of James and William's triumphant entry into Dublin had all the marks of overwhelming victory. With William's victory at the Boyne, the fate of James was sealed. And so, there you go. That brings us to the end of the story. But what I will say is that while this is not celebrated in England, although I believe it should be, it is very heavily celebrated in Northern Ireland. And on Thursday night, the 11th of July, the people of Ulster light these large bonfires, one of which I showed you a picture of earlier. I'm going to obviously be going to watch one of those. I've done that every year from I was a baby in a pram. But I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to take you to see the bonfire. I'm going to live stream a bonfire, and hopefully you can all enjoy that. And then on Friday morning, 12th of July, the bonfire, I'll open up a live stream at probably 23:50, 10 to 12 on the 11th, midnight, 1 minute past 1 1 minute past 12, bonfire will be lit, and we can watch all that. That's on the Thursday, and then at probably 10:30 on Friday morning, I will bring you the parade. So I'm going to go to City Hall. I will live stream that, get you all some interesting stuff to see. Hopefully I'll do a better job than I did with the one the other night, although it did work quite well. And yes, all right. Did promise you some drums, and I'm just getting that now. Right. Hold on. Get this. Right. We got a Highland Cathedral coming up. Share screen. This is the East Belfast Protestant Boys. They're a marching band from East Belfast, from a very an area of social deprivation, and this is one of our bands that's connected to the Orange Order and the marching scene and all of that. Enjoy. Okay, and now we're going to have a double outro because you're not getting away without a little bit of Eat the Bugs. So here we go. And during the week, 11th July, 12th of July, look out for the live streams. Enjoy the celebration, and please try to remember some of the stuff that we talked about tonight and the glorious revolution, the glorious deliverance, and what it's all about. Here we go. Eat the bombs, eat the bugs, and I will put all your comments up as I normally do with the intros or with the outros.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the resistance.
You were all nothing, and you will be happy. And you will eat the bugs. Eat the bugs.
Oh shit, man. Eat the bugs? You got me wrong. You got me so wrong. You ever seen a cave drawing of somebody with a spear hunting a mosquito? Well, me either. We eat meat and we have choices. You think the hedgehog right? It tastes like chicken. Fucking chicken. I ain't eating your bugs. I ain't eating your bugs. I started off with nothing and I'm never going back. I'm not getting on your progressive track. With Agenda 2030, I refuse to engage. I can see where it is going and it's just another cage. I've got hedgehog, I've got rabbit, I've got wild hog. Fuck it, I could even move to Alaska and get me a nice caribou. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. You're trying to take away what I fought so hard to get, so I'm going to say no to your cattle contract. Eat the bugs? Live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy? Oh, nothing and be happy? I've seen the people with nothing and they don't look happy. Eat the bugs? Live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy? Oh, nothing and be happy? I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. Oh shit, man. You got me wrong. You got me so fucking wrong. There are millions of us in the UK, billions worldwide, unvaccinated, striding out into our third winter of death with not a care in the world. Eating pig, eating cow, eating chicken, and we will not conform. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. Hey, Klaus Schwab, this is 42, and I want the word with you. Motherfucker.
This is the fourth industrial revolution. We have another opportunity for the great reset. Technology is a critical weapon. History is truly at a turning point. We can shape a better world, and we will reglobalize to make it a better place. So will all learn, and so will be happy, and so will eat the bugs.
You haven't got me talking. Why are the United Nations in charge of Stonehenge? Keeping me away from the stones? That's not world heritage, that's British heritage. You're getting to a point where the people just want to be left alone and going to get involved. Tell me again, why is the United Nations running Stonehenge? Fuck it. Stonehenge, new games, a fucking paramount range
we are going back to nature, see what that life brings. We had a good look at the banning we did, so we hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid.
This is 42 speed. Welcome to the Resistance.
Fuck it. Okay, everybody. I've been 42. You lot in the chat have as always been fucking amazing. Good night. God bless. See us all midweek for the glorious 12th. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. I'm out of here. Goodbye.